Welcome back everyone. So it's been a minute since we talked about the iPhone 6. I think the last time I did a review on it was that full 2020 review. Now since then a lot of things have changed and this phone keeps getting better. This thing was pretty much outdated last year, but because of so many things that have happened even in 2019 and even from 2020 till now, it keeps surprising me about the iPhone 6. And honestly, I think it's a better pickup now than last year, but I would still probably not pick it up, to be honest. Now this thing came out in 2014, so keep that in mind. That thing is, this thing is almost 6 years old, which is pretty insane. Now this is not a full review of the 6-year-old phone. It's kind of briefing on everything that's changed from 2020, early 2020 till now. I might hit on some things here and there, but if you want a full review, I'll drop my full review in the description below so you guys can check it out from there. Now this thing does have that 4.7-inch display on the front, which, isn't really that great, but considering the iPhone SE 2 that's just came out by Apple has that 4.7-inch display too. It's really not even that bad when you compare this phone to that phone. So it's 750p, it's an IPS panel. Doesn't really look that bad, but you do have quite a bit of bezel on the top and bottom and around the phone overall. So totally understandable if you think this thing looks ugly. I totally understand, but it really doesn't even look that bad. It looks kind of weird, but it doesn't really look that bad in my opinion. So you got the lightning port at the bottom, the headphone jack, and on the back you have that single camera setup, which is, it has a camera. I wouldn't say it's the best of the time. I wouldn't even say it's amazing, but it's definitely a camera, so you can definitely take photos on it, which is really, really cool. And when you're feeling this phone in the hand, that's the one thing that when you're feeling it in your hand, it still feels like a pretty good phone. And that's the one thing Apple has going for it. You hold a lot of other 2014 phones in your hand, they might not get the same reaction as this one. This one feels really good, it looks really good for the age that it is, and considering the iPhone SE 2 that just came out pretty much looks almost identical like this is pretty insane and just shows how great of a phone this iPhone 6 is in terms of the design. Now hitting on the software, this is probably the biggest difference that has changed and one of the craziest things in my opinion. So with the iOS 12 update, okay, usually when an iOS version comes out, Apple stops supporting that version, the version before, and just focuses on the newer version. But Apple actually kind of updated iOS 12 for quite a while, and early on this year, I think I got a really, really quick update, and I mentioned it in my video, and then it's been getting 12.4.x updates for a while now, and this might be Apple's new lifecycle support. They might actually keep supporting their older devices for an extra year, and then once, iOS 14 comes out, they'll cut support for iOS 12, but keep supporting iOS 13 and these bug fix updates, which is pretty impressive. And the iPhone 6 has gotten several updates since then, since early on this year, it's gotten iOS 12, I think right now it's on 12.4.7, and that update just came out a couple weeks ago, so that's still how recent these updates are, which is so awesome. And this phone's lifecycle support is amazing. I love that so much about Apple, and that's one of my favorite things about their company is that their dedication to these older phones is just so awesome. We also had improvements in that check rain jailbreak as well, which supports the iPhone 6, and I think that's really, really cool. I made a video about this too. A jailbroken iPhone 6 is a very good phone. I would recommend doing that. If you have an iPhone 6, what do you have to lose, bro, to be honest? I'd recommend backing up all your data and jailbreaking it and seeing the type of phone that you can kind of mold yourself. There's so many customizability, there's so many options you can do on a jailbroken iPhone 6. That's so cool. So if you want to jailbreak, the options out there. Now performance, still pretty much the same as early on this year. Nothing has really changed since. It has that Apple A8 chip, a dual-core CPU with 1 gig of RAM, and like I said, it's the same, almost the same exact thing. There were maybe some changes here and there, but for the most part, it's almost the exact same performance. I've ran many Antutu benchmark scores, and they all seem about the same, around that 60 to 70, maybe 80,000 on a good day, but usually it's around that upper 60s, lower 70s type of range. So performance I still think is pretty good for the most part. It'll be able to handle everything you throw at it, but it's not going to be the best performing device out there by any means. So it still has that camera on the back, that 8 megapixel sensor as well. You can do 1080p videos on it, which is cool. No 4K or anything like that, but it gets the job done at the end of the day for sure. And you have that 1.2 megapixel front facing camera. You can do 720p videos on that as well. And I think for sure at the end of the day, the camera quality is one of those things that if you're outside, it'll look really good, but if you're indoors, it's not going to look the best. So in terms of cameras, that pretty much covers it. Now ending it off with the battery life, this thing has a 1810 mAh battery, and like I said before, maybe it gets the job done, but this was always one of the weirdest aspects of it, because in the beginning with it seemed pretty good, but now it doesn't really seem that great in terms of the battery. It's degraded a ton over time, and it really hasn't degraded for me too much since the beginning of this year to now. So that's another huge plus for it. But another big thing for it though is that you can actually go and replace the battery yourself, which is really cool for a pretty cheap price, which is pretty impressive. So when it comes down to it, the battery life is really not that great, but it's really not that hard to replace the battery either. So to kind of sum up this mid-2020 review, I mean, this phone I still think is pretty impressive. I probably wouldn't recommend anybody picking it up, but I think one of the most impressive things about this is the support from Apple. The software support is out there, and that's really the only thing that's still keeping this, legacy of this phone alive at this point is the software update. So I think it's an important iPhone. I think it's one of the most important iPhones that ever came out, but the fact that it's still relevant is extremely awesome in my opinion. So that really pretty much covers it up there. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.